Triple Threat Media is a New Orleans-based production company that documents the humanity of multi-hyphenates in the arts and entertainment industries. They produce everything from music videos to live and virtual events, reels, commercials, and podcasts. The people behind Triple Threat Media are the most smart, multi-talented, and humble professionals in the greater New Orleans area who love and honor the art of storytelling. How do I know this? Well, Triple Threat Media is my company. If you've been following my artistic journey over the last 18 years, you know it's always involved some type of multimedia production. All of that seasoning has put me in community with the best industry professionals in this area who are ready to serve you in your next media project. Also, with every transaction, Triple Threat Media shares a cut of their earnings to directly support the sustainability and economic empowerment of New Orleans artists. When you book our services, you are helping individuals in those communities keep their lights on, tap into their creative aspirations, and level up their entrepreneurial ambitions. For more info and to book our services, visit triplethreatmedia.net. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Self-Aware Millennial. I am your host, J.Mix, as always. I'm multi-hyphenate if you're just joining us for the first time. I will explain that later because that's what we will be talking about. And I have with me Kirkland Green, who is also a multi-hyphenate, a singer, songwriter, everything that you can imagine, really talented. We're going to be chatting about the ins and outs, the ups and downs of being a multi-hyphenate. And hopefully some of you that listen, which I think a lot of y'all are multi-hyphenates yourselves. If not, you are an artist or a creator, and some of this might resonate with you. So if you like this conversation, make sure to share it with somebody because we all need to be affirmed right now.
I agree.
So what we're going to do right now is the quick In the Mix updates. I apologize if I did In the Mix in the last episode. I was telling Kirkland, like, I be talking about things that I do, and I don't remember if I've already told it to y'all. So
it's new to me. It's new to me.
Okay, it's new to Kirkland. So that's all that matters. This is specifically for Kirkland. So
just for me.
So in the last couple of months, because we've been kind of off right now, we haven't been doing as many episodes because we're kind of in our like sleepy season. Like we're taking time and we're resting. This past summer, I got a chance to see Palenko, who was a friend of the show. Got to see him in the Wiz before they closed. They just closed like about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And it was absolutely amazing. We were up there because we were singing with a band and we just so happened to, have the time to do both. And we stayed in New York for a couple of days and I don't know, it was fun because like it had been a minute since I had been to New York, like, and just had a chance to enjoy myself.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, how did you feel about the city? Because anytime I go to New York, I feel alive.
Ooh. So I want to know if alive is I feel like you have no choice but to feel alive when you're in New York.
This is true.
Because you got to be watching yourself, and it's like everybody is has somewhere to go. There's a lot of people. Yeah. So yeah. I wouldn't say I felt alive. I usually feel really overwhelmed.
That's also fair. Yeah.
But it's okay. Like New York, it's come a long way in the last couple of decades, from what I've been told. I've heard from a lot of native New York folks. It's kind of like New Orleans, where a lot of people said it has definitely changed after a certain era of the city. But yeah, overall I had a fun time. We went to Times Square, took some photos. Yeah. It was me, Whitney, and Josh Kegler because we were all singing in the band. Hey. We stayed with Palenko, and wonderful, hospitable, has a cute dog, and I wanted to go back and try to see it again, or at least hang out before the show ended, but time,
it doesn't seem to be enough of it.
There's no time. I was like, oh yeah, I could come back in 3 weeks because and it just didn't work out. But
it's like time and resources.
Resources. Well, here's my thing. I have the resources to get back.
Oh, okay.
I've been saving up on my Southwest points to get back.
Come on.
But at that point, I was just like, no, because actually, this is the next thing in my In the Mix announcements. I also went out of town for a little bit and took a little vacation. So that's what we use our Southwest points on.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, outside of that, this just overall, I've been working with Triple Threat Media, trying to organize it, get it ready for like whenever we have the means to start hiring more people on. I want to make sure that it's easy for them to get in and like figure out what they are doing and whatnot. Like they know their roles and responsibilities. So been doing that. I think I've been pretty successful. It's been fun, like creating marketing materials and just organizing the administration stuff. Like it's a lot though, and it's mainly myself. Like I have people that are able to come on and like help me now and then. If I have enough money, I might be able to like, you know, put them, like pay them to do it. But otherwise it's a lot of bartering.
Yep.
And it's wonderful. I love bartering, but I know
Me
there's
too.
also, you can only barter up to a certain amount. Like you really have to be able to start. And it's another thing in New Orleans, it's really hard because we're in the slow season.
Yep.
For the last 2 months, I had only been working at my 9 to 5 for like once a week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not much to sustain me.
Yeah.
But I was thankful to have like one gig in July that like basically covered my rent at least for 2 months. So I was like, all right,
Yeah,
I'm
y'all were
good.
blessed and busy. I just saw y'all online doing all the things up in the northeast.
Yeah. So outside of that, y'all, the last thing I want to let y'all know is that in the upcoming weeks, which this will be coming out around Labor Day, y'all should definitely come. If you're in New Orleans, y'all need to come out to the Andre Caillou Center, which was where I did the We Will Dream Festival. Y'all may remember that from last year. We're going to be doing a electronic press kit media day for artists, entrepreneurs, and creatives.
Yes.
We're doing that for a very affordable price. I'm teaming up with Lyrical Paradigm, who's a local poet. Our production companies are teaming up to present that and give that as like a offering for local artists, and it's starting at like $25, y'all. Like you can't beat that. So if you listen to this in enough time and you want to check it out, even if you just live close by, like you don't have to live in New Orleans, you can be from anywhere. If you're just in the New Orleans area on September 22nd, which is when it's happening, like come through. We love to have you. There's going to be food. There's also going to be workshops. So if you're not sure like what you need and how to like put it all together, we're going to have people there that can help you. So like check it out.
And EPKs are hard to come by. Like it
They
takes
are.
a lot of work.
Funnily enough, like when Lyrical came to me with this, I had to remind myself of what an EPK was. I was like, I know this, but like everybody, depending on the industry of creative you are, uses it in a different way.
Yep.
For artists, for actors, like that's mainly just like their reel and you know the headshot.
Yep.
And maybe like some other little stuff, like things, easily accessible links to the things that whoever is going to be hiring them needs to have. But for like, I don't know, like a singer songwriter, you know, it's going to be different. And
we have to have our artist bio, also all of those links as well. If you have a website, all of your Spotify, all of that information has to be centralized. And it was hard to accumulate. And with instruction, I think I would have gotten it done a lot faster is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would also say that if you're doing like an EPK video, which is, we're also going to have video available if you need video done for your EPK. I found that like it can really vary on how long the length of the video is. So I don't know. I feel like I learned a lot, and I even have like an EPK of my own. Not real, like I have one for the podcast, and I have one as for my artistry. But I didn't realize it was an EPK until like I learned the correct terms for it. So anyway, if you need an EPK and you want, or at least want one and want to see what it's all about, come to the Andre Caillou Center on September 22nd, 2541 Bayou Road in New Orleans from 12 to 6. We'll be there. We'll be happy to have you. And hope y'all can come. I have one more in the mix announcement, but it's going to be saved for Patreon because I don't feel like talking about that on this platform right now. Anyway, let's actually officially introduce Kirkland. Because I already talked about your hyphens, but like I probably got some of them, but not all of them. So you want to like talk a little bit more about your other hyphens?
All right, I'll talk about it a little bit. Kirkland Green. I am first and foremost, I think, singer-songwriter. I just released a wonderful album that I'm super, super proud of. It's called Unrequited.
And it sounds so good,
You
y'all.
you like it? You
I
really
like
like
it.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's so you.
Yes, I just wanted it to have that specific sound. I wanted it to be a very specific thing. And I've talked to so many artist friends who look back on their first, like their debut album, and they're like, "Oh, I was not happy with it," and I didn't want it to be the case for me. I wanted to get the music out because they're always like, "Get the music out," but so I couldn't scrutinize it too much. But I still wanted it to be something that I know I'm going to be proud of later on. And I feel like we did that. I feel like
I
we
think
did that.
you did too.
That's a vibe.
Yeah.
And it's an easy listen. It's
It
on
is.
Spotify everywhere. That's my little plug. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that you can stream.
Well, don't worry. We're going to leave a link in the bio.
Yes, please.
Or in our description
please.
so that people can listen to it.
Yes, but I'm a singer-songwriter, theater performer. I'm a dancer as well. I'm a consultant. I also work in DEI spaces. I work behind the scenes in a lot of theaters as well. I sit on boards. I am in development as well. That's what I did with my last nonprofit. Served as in a development role.
Nice.
And right now I'm really involved in helping other nonprofits, specifically my friends and causes that I love, grow and develop in the same ways. Because what I'm realizing is a dream of mine is to help other people's dreams come true as well. Like, right? We got to support our friends out here, you know, or else what are we doing, you know?
Right. Sorry, I'm like,
You got to get your tea.
my tea is all the way over here. If you are joining us on YouTube, you will see that we're in a new location. And not gonna reveal the location or anything, but let's just say it's we're just figuring it out, and the way that I have it set up is the drink is all the way over here, and I gotta reach a little bit. But anyway, yes. So
we're gonna get you a little stand for right over there too.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. We're gonna figure it out. So okay, multi-hyphenate. You are definitely multi-hyphenate with everything you just told me.
Yes.
I did not know you like served on boards. Like,
yes,
boards?
I serve on 3 currently.
Whoa.
3.
Are they all theater?
Yeah, all theater related.
Okay.
Yeah, or arts organization related. Let's say 2 are theater specific, and right now I just started working with a new organization that's children and arts education related. Also a huge passion. Also, I'm a teacher, and let's throw that in there as well.
Come on.
Yeah.
I think being on a board, even if it's for just a temporary time for whatever, or even if you're just on the board of like trying to figure out like see who gets a grant, like grant boards and all of that.
Yep.
Is that considered a board?
Yeah, it's a board.
Committee, like being on that side of things made me like realize like how easy it can be to not be able to get what you need because you don't necessarily know what they're looking for. But being on the other side, you're like, oh, like, well, I wanted this. This is why they didn't get the grant. But like sometimes it's like you don't notice that when you're just trying to send things in. So anyway, what have you learned from just being like on the board side?
Ooh, so much. There's to piggyback off of what you were saying, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that I think people do not know. Specifically, I'm thinking about the first board that I joined, which was Theater Baton Rouge, and I did my tenure over there for about almost 3 years, which was our term length, and I also served as the DEI chairperson for that organization as well. There's tea. There was tea.
Yeah, I mean, we can save that tea for Patreon.
Yeah, let's say that for Patreon because that's a little juicy.
Let me write that in here. As you continue talking, I'm gonna be like, okay.
Yeah. And so for that organization, I also served on their education committee because at the time I was a public school teacher. A lot of people don't know my degree is actually in political science, and I taught in the public education sector. I taught social studies for high school students for about 3 years as well.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been all over the place, but what I realized is just I got too many passions.
Well, no, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I also think that having all of those different hyphens makes you really versatile, easily able to take on, like, people are gonna depend on you more.
Exactly.
Because they know you can do more than one thing, or like you're more utilizable.
Yep.
Which you can't stretch yourself thin by being that.
Exactly.
You may not need to tell everybody all the hyphens you have.
Exactly. Well, now they know.
But now they know. But no, that's awesome. I completely relate to you in that, and like just having all those different things that are under your belt that you can just kind of pull out, or just you may not even realize you need until it happens. I forgot. Let's take a pause on that. We have another segment. If y'all been joining us or have you been following us since the beginning of this podcast, I have this fun segment called Ponytails. Ponytails is basically where we tell a tale with a ponytail in our head. Now, right now, I don't feel like putting a ponytail in my head, and I don't have one anywhere nearby. I mean, I see the little thing right there that I could potentially use, but I'm not about to look crazy on these YouTubes because somebody will come back and blackmail me and be like, you remember that time you were looking like a tree monster? Like on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, we're not going to do that. We're just using it as the segment. So the ponytail I want to talk about today is the first time someone affirmed you for your talents that actually stuck with you, that you still remember to this day. You go first.
Okay.
Actually,
okay.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
I got actually two things come to mind. I have an A or a B. You choose, and I'm gonna tell a story based off of whichever one you choose. You choose.
I only get to choose. Y'all don't get to choose.
Hey,
I get to choose.
If y'all were here.
I know one of these days we'll have a live.
And you'll have to have me back for that.
I'll have to have you back. Oh, I forgot, y'all. So Kirkland also sang in our choir for the live show that we had last year.
It was so fun.
Yeah,
Human Heart.
We sang that Coldplay song featuring King. If anyone knows who King is. So anyway, yes. So let's talk about the time that someone affirmed you for what you do that actually stuck with you.
Yes. A or B.
Do I not know what it? Okay, B.
Okay, cool.
B.
Okay. So a lot of people don't know this, but when I was 17, I went and I auditioned for The Voice.
Oh.
I went and auditioned for The Voice. I didn't know what was going to happen. We had made a little family trip out of it, which was surprising in and of itself because I come from a very religious family. We love the Lord over there. They're very saved and sanctified.
So
Dad's a preacher.
Okay.
And so when I said I want to go out for The Voice, I didn't know how that was going to be interpreted. And so they ended up saying yes. I signed up. We went. One of the most terrifying things I think I've ever done, sitting in a room with hundreds upon hundreds of people who are all there for the same purpose, and people are just getting rejected.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you just know, you can see people walking out of the room, you see the sullen expressions, like, you just know.
It was like American Idol. I did American Idol once, and I was like, oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even like that. Sorry, I'm like
no, you good.
No, but like I just remember it was me and my sisters. Like we all just kind of went for fun to see like what it was like. But knowing that we were like in the arena of New Orleans, like the New Orleans arena, they called it they don't call it the arena no more. The Smoothie King Center. And it was just I don't know. It was a weird experience. Like it felt. Like they said you have to be there at 3 a.m. in order to get in, and like they made us wait for hours until like the doors opened at 7. So like you're literally standing there for hours. You're losing your voice because you haven't gotten any sleep, and by the time you finally audition at like 9-10 o'clock a.m., it's like you're a zombie. Anyway. So anyway,
and that's the thing too about American Idol. See, they'll keep you in if you're bad, like. Either way, you're either gonna be really good or they're gonna keep you in if you're bad. Well, I was like, I don't want to be.
Yeah, the part of it was that they wanted to make sure they had people that were marketable for their brand, whether they could sing or not. Because I mean, a lot of us watched American Idol for the auditions because there was good and bad auditions. So I get it. I get the marketing strategy as an adult and as a business owner, but like, bruh, like. I just feel like there's still a part of it where I was just like, I wish in terms of the audition process that it was more, what's the word? More transparent about like the full day, maybe even like, cause it's a singing competition telling folks, okay, you're going to be here for a long, like it's going to be this temperature outside. Like you need to be saving your voices, like do these things in order to preserve and but I understand it's television. It's completely different.
Oh yeah. Oh, they want a good TV program.
Yeah.
And I think that was like I had this maybe irrational just nightmare that I was going to go out for the show and then just not have a good day and then I was going to end up as one of those bad ones. Like,
yeah.
even though if we have a little training and we know we can hold our own, I still was like, oh, they're going to keep me in as one of those not great ones. But thankfully that didn't happen. But for The Voice, it's different because they're only accepting good people. So you're, like once you make it onto the lives, like onto the, I guess the initial blind auditions, like everybody's good.
Right.
And so we went through and they're funneling us through. We're like traveling up this beautiful center. We're in Dallas, by the way.
Okay.
My family had made just a cute little trip out of it. We went to a hotel and all of that, which was awesome for little 17-year-old me and my brothers. And I just didn't, like, I was thinking in my head, I don't want us to have come out here for no reason, even though it was a family trip. But you know how parents and family gonna do them. We're like, oh, we didn't come out here and nothing happened.
Yeah.
They funneled us into a room with the producer in groups of 10. And I sang my first song, and I guess they must have heard something because it was not my best foot forward, is what I remember, what I recall. My mom was in there because I was a minor, but everybody else, they were just in their little groups. And she tells us, she was like, I would like for everybody to leave except for Kirkland. And I said, really? Me? I looked at my mom, I said, me? She got that right? And she asked me to sing my second song. That one, perfect. Flawless that time. I said, my mom was like, you should have started with that one. I said, I probably should have. And she put me through to the producer level. And so a couple days later, also in Dallas, they invited me to come back to another theater. At this point, there's only like 6 or 7 people in the waiting room at a time. You can hear everybody. You hear them cutting everybody off in their verse and their chorus. They're singing one song, even though they've told us to prepare 3. People get through their verse and their chorus, and they're like, okay, thank you. That's all we need to see. And then they're getting funneled out. I did not make it onto the show. I think I flubbed up my words, but she let me get through all 3 of my songs. Oh. She liked the first one. She liked the second one. And now on that third one, still haunts me to this day, No Air by Chris Brown.
No air.
I said, what are these words, Lord? Like, what? Help me through it. And
it's kind of wordy.
It was a little wordy, and especially...
the rhythms of the words too.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I was singing it well, but I was like, I don't with words. And by the end, she gave me just a huge compliment, which was great because I know she didn't do the same for everybody else. Where she was like, "You are young, you are very talented. I'm not gonna put you in. Please come back." Like she in no way crushed my dreams like I was expecting it to be. She was like, "I just want you to keep singing. Please, please, please come back." Yeah. I never came back, but
that's okay. That's okay.
But I
hope she sees this.
I hope she sees it too. Come on.
Yeah.
But she really did something for me that day. Like as an artist, I felt like, okay, I'm on to something. I got something going.
That feels so good. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for listening. But yeah, that was a time.
Oh man, No Air. Did you do both verses?
I did.
And
that's probably what got me.
And the bridge.
I did the bridge too.
You did Jordan and Chris?
I did Jordan
at the same time?
Chris at the same time. And that's probably why I faltered.
Because Jordan did a lot. She was doing a lot.
She was doing a lot. I actually, even if I had to sing that song right now, couldn't sing it. I would definitely mess up the words.
I can't do it. I don't think I could do it.
I don't know who told me to choose that song, but
it worked, and you got through the end of it. They didn't cut you off.
They did not cut me off in my first verse, of course, and that will always be my little. If nothing else, that's my claim to fame right there.
Wow.
I got through all 3.
Yes, all 3.
All 3 songs.
Well, that's awesome. That's good to know too. Like seeing what the Voices process is versus American Idol. I don't know.
That was a while ago. I don't know if it's changed, but that was definitely my experience, and it was pretty streamlined. I think we were only there for like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Oh. That's not bad.
They were moving in people quickly.
They know how to. Well, yeah, when it's a big production like that, you got the budget to be able to streamline it like that. Lord,
yes.
Hope we can get there some way with Triple Threat Media.
We manifesting.
Yeah, we're gonna manifest that.
It's gonna happen.
I was gonna talk about my ponytails, but I'm gonna save it for Patreon. I'm gonna put that in those too.
Yeah, I'm sorry I was long-winded.
Oh no, it's okay. No. I just folks on my Patreon know that I talk a lot about like my experiences and stuff that I'm dealing with, good and bad. And I think this would be a really fun one to include on there. So check out Patreon if you want to check that out. So yeah, let's get into our actual conversation for today.
Yes.
So we are going to be talking about basically the frustrations of being a multi-hyphenate. I know we were talking about like the ins and outs, the ups and the downs. We'll kind of go into that naturally, but I really want to talk about the frustration. So not even a week ago, if y'all have been following me on social media, at least on my personal page, I made a post about how I've been finding that like multi-hyphenatism, like even though we kind of talking like the good things about it, there's a lot of side effects to that as well. On my end, I have found that there are many moments where I second guess the importance of some of my hyphens, and it's like, why do I do so much to not even like really have anyone know about them, and or like if it's even worth it for me to continue working within that hyphen if it's not going to make me money. Because like right now, at least in my life, I'm still at 32 years old. Let's backtrack to like 10 years ago. 22, I thought, okay, girl, you are out of college. You are about to go do some things on the stage, which I did. You know, you're going to go on Broadway. You're going to do all these other at that moment, I was identifying myself as a theater performer because I was primarily doing theater at that time. And although I was doing other things, you know, I was a triple threat actor, singer, dancer, and all of that at the very least. But I was doing a lot more. I was doing more than that. I thought that my life had a different trajectory, but because I was still just out of school, I felt like I already kind of knew my path forward, or at least I thought I knew my path forward. But as I got into like just doing show after show, but now also having to work, get a 9-to-5 so I can like, you know, make money. I found that theater was not as appealing to me anymore, even though I was still doing it. Like I didn't want to do it as a career anymore. Yeah. I wanted to do it just as like a supplement because I was starting to realize the ins and outs of at least the theater here in New Orleans, in like the Southern Louisiana, community theater and all of that. I didn't want to there were certain roles that I wanted to portray, but there was also a part of me that was like, I know my characters more than I know myself at this point. Cause I'm like a serial. I was a serial actor doing a show, finishing one show, going to another show. Like I never really had a chance to like really identify with myself. Anyway, so years go by and I'm like, you know what? Theater's going to be here. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to do all these other things that I really want to dive into. So I start doing that. I start perfecting that. I start doing better with that. And then I think the same what ifs start to come up again. I'm like, maybe I want to do something else. And so I've always kind of been in that same bubble. Even with this podcast, like I'm like, do I want to continue doing this podcast? Or do I want to let it? But like I'm like, no, this is very therapeutic for me. Yeah. And I feel like the conversations that we need to be having as creatives aren't necessarily always happening. They may be happening, but like you don't always hear about them. So, and I know for me, it helps to like be able to speak it out loud.
And that's the thing too. Even right now, getting into this conversation, like it's helpful to know that somebody has a shared experience and is navigating it in the same kind of capacity and having the same ups and downs and highs and lows. Like even in just finding community in the spaces. So I'm happy that you're still doing the podcast because it gives us a platform to talk about it.
Thank you, and you're welcome. Thank you, and you're welcome. Yes. It ain't going nowhere. I've realized that, like my hyphens and like everything that's been going on with my life right now, like triple threat media and everything, the software millennial is just evolving, and it's just gonna look different as my life changes. Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean like I used to be able to do these episodes every other week. I used to do them every week. I had so much time during the pandemic. I did them like maybe sometimes twice a week. It was crazy. But now like, I can't do it yet. But like, I feel like when I get to that point, I want to do them at least twice a month at the very least. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I had been feeling just because when you have more than one talent, you start to judge which talent you need to really pursue. That's the first thing. Because you're like, I need to make money. Which talent can help me make money? But then sometimes when you start making money from that talent, you no longer want to do it because then you just feel like it's a job. And And we always say like you should love your job. You should, think of it as not like it's not supposed to be your job, or like what's the phrase where they're like if you really love your job, you never work.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I mean, and even when I'm doing this, like it doesn't feel like work to me. I love doing this. But so that's the first thing. The second thing I've noticed is like in terms of all my hyphens, like I may see someone doing one of my hyphens that I perceive as better than me. And I will be like, oh, I could be better. Like, I could be better at this hyphen, like, because they are great too. And I'm like, let me So, like, you start judging yourself. You start feeling the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all of those feelings of multi-hyphenatisms are part of it. There's probably others, but at the current moment, I'm not able to figure out what the rest of them are. But those are the two big things for me. Mm-hmm. And it's been hard. I feel like there's been moments, depending on where I am in the month, it'll elevate how I'm feeling about it, or it'll subside. And there's also moments where it's like, thank goodness. I mean, I don't know why I'm thanking Facebook, but like sometimes I love and thank Facebook for the whole time machine thing where like they tell you what you were doing a couple of months, like years back, because you be forgetting.
You do.
And I was like, oh man, like I did this, and like I'm thinking to myself, like, and I was this age, like I know if I would even have seen like someone now doing that, I would have been like, wow. Yeah. So I'm trying to give myself grace and give myself credit for that.
And that's the hardest part right there, is allowing yourself to feel, to give yourself grace and to allow yourself to feel okay in that. I'm gonna echo your sentiments. Yeah. It's like, money is first and foremost. I was telling you, I have never, up until this point in my life, like I have always had a full-time job. Mm-hmm. I've always had some sort of stability. I've always known, all the bills are getting paid. Might even have a little extra to do something else, and I've always valued that. And I think that's also what society tells you that you should have. And so when you shift into this artist perspective, I had just left my job as a development director for a nonprofit. And I was like, ooh, I want to put out my album. I want to work on my music. I've had the most time that I've ever been able to work on my project and put it forth.
How does that feel to like be able to do it?
Beautiful. It feels, it's like a big sigh of relief. It's like something that I've created and worked on, because what a lot of people don't know about Unrequited, as well, it's not the first project I started working on. Mm-hmm. There was another one that's still out there, and it will get produced. But you know how your perspective in life changes, and you're in a different place. And I picked and pulled a couple from that original project, but I started writing new songs that were more representative of where I was at. And so, Sex Phase will have to wait. But
okay.
But we got some live recordings out there for you to listen to. But yes. We shifted to Unrequited, and I'm just so happy with that as well. But just having the time and the space to really freely explore has been invaluable.
Yeah.
But also it's like, where's that money coming from? Where are those resources? Because you also still have to be able to navigate your life. And I hate that you feel like you have to choose. I hate that society makes us feel like we have to choose.
I think in certain moments you really do have to.
You do have to choose, yeah.
And the issue is that like sometimes when you choose, you're always worried if you will be able to, if the one that you didn't choose, if you'll be able to go back to it. Or like, let's just say the one that you actually want to do. You have to choose the one that you don't want to do, the one that you want to do, if you'll be able to get back to it in time before maybe you have a shift in mindset or, another life event that keeps you from doing that.
Yeah. I feel that.
May I ask about Unrequited?
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is a conversation about vulnerabilities and multi-hyphenatisms, and although we've already discussed all of your multi-hyphenates, we're gonna focus on this one.
Yep.
Let's chat a little bit about, do you have any, not necessarily reservations, or maybe like some frustrations or struggles that you may have had since premiering Unrequited? Like, are there any imposter feels or anything of that nature that you're like, oh, I released it, but oh, maybe I should have done this.
Just about every day. like every day, like when I had to actually take a break from listening to it after my release show, which went very well. I had to take a break from listening to it. I said, I'm starting to hear things that I wasn't hearing before and that I'm not quite happy with. And then on another day, I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh, that sounds great and exactly what I was envisioning. But like I think that's definitely imposter syndrome creeping in and telling you, oh,
You could be better.
you could have been better. This could have been better. But also, I've had this conversation with so many musicians, and I'm thankful to have been able to collaborate with some amazing musicians on this project, all local, either in New Orleans or Baton Rouge. And everybody's like, just get the music out.
Yeah.
Like if you scrutinize it too much, and that's what I really wanted to not do. If you scrutinize it too much, you'll never have the product that you want, and you'll change it. You'll make these little tweaks that end up changing the overall vision of what you set out to produce. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And so I didn't sit on this one for as long. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
Loving it how everything sounded. I gave myself a deadline, and then also I know. We actually held to it. I was in Maine, and Matt Cruft, who produced a majority of it, we had some of the stuff already done, and there were a couple of things that needed to be tweaked and a couple of little vocals we had to add here and there. I was like, I'm going to Maine, so and I wanna release this when we come back. So can we do this by the 24th? Another hyphenate. I actually ended up teaching the youth arts program for the Bates Dance Festival.
Okay.
Amazing. I taught their theater division, and so I also got to train in dance and felt reinvigorated in my dance identity,
Come on,
which was
dancer.
dope. Yeah, which is a title I've always struggled with as well.
Tell me more.
Ooh, if we had the time, baby, if we had the time, I just I don't know. Like, and I talked
Is it just because you don't dance often? And
exactly.
Okay. Cool.
Even though I know I can pick something up, I have a good retention. Even though people can tell me that I'm a great dancer, it's like I don't dedicate enough consistent time to it. I haven't been able to train since I was in college, and I did when I was doing aerial silks and I was doing modern and taking ballet and doing all this and choreographing hip hop numbers. I'm not dedicating that same amount of time to it because I can't. But when I got to Maine, and I was reinvigorated also in teaching as well, because we taught in the afternoons, but we got to train in the mornings and take all of the classes, and people were coming in from all over the country and beyond to teach, renowned choreographers teaching different styles. And I said, when it kicked my ass, it kicked my ass. But when I tell you I felt invigorated in my sense of dance and just reconnected with that part of myself. I came back and I told Chloe, because she was like, you're a dancer.
Chloe's y'all remember Chloe. Chloe is actually a couple of years ago, but also Chloe is a friend of the show.
Yeah, that's my bestie.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chloe Marie.
I think we're talking about being like black performers in the theater or something like that.
Oh.
Y'all should check that out. It's good.
That was a whole another segment as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had this conversation a bunch, and I came back and I was like, I'm a dancer. She was like, you caught on? I'm like, I've caught on. I felt reinvigorated.
And what's crazy about, I wonder what. This is going into the nitty gritty of things, but like, what classifies anyone as a dancer? Like, do you have to have done it training classically? Do you have to be able to be flexible enough to be a dancer, like, or be able to, keep a rhythm or something like that? Yeah. I feel like in your instances, especially if you're trying to do videos or music videos or whatnot, you have that knowledge of choreography that you can choreograph it yourself.
Yep.
In terms of your multi-hyphenatisms, like, you wouldn't have to hire a choreographer. If you have a vision, maybe you can hire someone that you trust.
Yeah. That
could like help you implement that vision. But like, if you really wanted to, you could choreograph it yourself because you're a dancer and a choreographer.
And Peep, when the music video for Vampires Deserve Love 2, I guess, comes out, there's a little choreo moment, and best believe I choreographed it. So
see,
it's in there. Yeah. It's in here.
See, so like, even if you don't become like the best dancer in the entire world compared to like societal standards, like, you still are utilizing your gift for your artistry and who you are as a creative. And no one can do that better than you.
I think we get in our minds, what is it, that 10,000 hours that you put towards something? Like, I think that's what, it's like the concept of that is what psychs me out sometimes. It's like, I'm not putting my 10,000 hours toward dance. And honestly, I probably wouldn't, like that. If I'm going to pick a part of my artistry to focus on in that capacity, it wouldn't be dance first and foremost.
Yeah.
Even though I do identify now as a dancer and struggled with that,
Yeah.
And so we just kind of get in our own heads with, I think, these standards.
these titles. That's why it's hard. That's why when I introduce myself now, I'm telling you, I'm a multi-hyphenate artist, and leave it at that. If you want to know more, then you may see me in the one thing when you meet me, and you don't know until you see me doing something else. I don't know if it was on I don't know if I even posted it on the page. I may have posted it on the Instagram post I was telling y'all about, but I think I mentioned along the lines like sometimes people will not take you seriously if you just say all the things that you are right then and there. Like, some people don't find that interesting. They find that, this person just can't make up their mind. They're undecided. So they just say everything. When in reality, sorry. Well, hold on. You go. When in reality, it's like, if you introduce yourself as the one thing that they know you for, that they identify with the most, and then they just so happen to see you doing something else, then they're more impressed, because they're like, I didn't know you could do this. Wow, you do everything. Da, da, da. So take that for what you want. Anyone that is out there that does the one thing, I guess, as I was saying earlier, choose how you want to identify yourself as, depending on the situation. You might want to just do the one for now. Maybe depending on the event. Maybe you are, for me, like majority of the time, I'm a videographer these days for a lot of things. But it's crazy. It's funny too, because it's like, people don't I have like this whole other identity that nobody knows about. So anyway, sorry.
Oh no, you good. I was just thinking about this today, and I've been like terrified. I never want to be put in any kind of box. Like, I don't want to be labeled as any one thing, and so I do try my best to find ways to do the other things when I'm doing one thing. But I was thinking about this both when I saw your post first, and also just in the days, like the subsequent days. People don't put you in a box for your benefit. And I said that, and I said, "Ooh, I had to call the spirit."
And I think about that for a second. I was like, "Oh,
they don't put you in a box for your benefit. It's for theirs. It's so they can choose how to identify you and how to
utilize you for their benefit."
Exactly. Like, what can you do that's benefiting them? And I was like, ooh. And I've had moments of that when I'm working in my nonprofit and I'm asked, oh, can your band play at this fundraising event? And I'm like, okay, cool, fine. I love to perform. Cool, I'll do that. But there's a fine line between, taking advantage also and kind of understanding those boundaries has been hard for me as well.
Ooh, wow. I didn't even think about that. Thank you for saying that in particular, because yes, if you are multi-hyphenate, sometimes people will utilize all of your hyphens, but only pay you for the one hyphen.
For the one hyphen, yep. Baby. I don't even know.
So, in that regard, if you are a multi-hyphenate, it is imperative that you know your worth on all the hyphens. So if someone does come to you saying, hey, I want you to act, sing, and dance, that you're paying for all free. Because that is the 10,000 hours in acting, 10,000 hours in singing, 10,000 hours in dancing, and those all need to be taken into account. They weren't paying your student loans or however you learned that, like they were, you probably, majority of us, I know I still am, I'm still trying to pay all that off. So have them help you pay it off.
Yeah.
But wow, I didn't even think about that. Thank you for saying that.
Boundaries and compensation, baby.
Compensation.
And it's like knowing your worth in those cases. I think we also, this is a little bit of a tangent, but we also get so afraid that we're not going to have access to the same opportunities that we're afraid to say no sometimes. I had so many conversations about that with artist friends. It's like, ooh, I feel like I need to say yes. And I'm like, I'm slowly starting to come in contact with the fact that no, you don't always have to. There are probably a multitude of reasons. Just don't get burned out first and foremost. Are they paying you for this? Are they valuing the worth? Are they paying for what they're asking of you in addition to your other capabilities? Like, you got to ask these questions, and I wasn't for so long. And I think that also crosses wires with your identities as well as a multi-hyphenate.
Yeah. To piggyback off of that, I think also, oh man, I'm losing the train of thought. It's going to come back, but it had something to do with just like having all the hyphens. Man, it's going to come back. Let's keep talking, and it's going to come back. See, this is why, like when we do these interviews, sometimes like things be happening and I'm like, I have something there, and then like I want to continue comprehending what you're saying, and then I'm like, I should have wrote it down, but like I don't want to write it down because I want to
parking lot.
Yeah, I need like I wish I had two tangible brains going on at the same time. But anyway, it's gonna come back to me.
It will, and I'm sorry because I was
if it does come back to me, I'll probably just jump in. Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
And you got to take that. You got to take that. But yeah, like boundaries and compensation, and understanding your worth in the same capacity that other people will take advantage of. You know, and they'll do that real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's been a struggle, and I never want to be placed in a box. I don't want people to say, "Oh, that's Kirkland. He's that singer." I'm like, well, yeah, but there's also some other things going on, and you know, you might only see that one part, but like, well, maybe take the time also to get to know me and know the other facets of my personality that make me me. Because baby, I feel like I'm a hoot and a half.
Not a hoot and a half. I love that.
I'm hoping your thought comes back to you.
I know it was so good. I mean, I feel like if we're living in the world right now, we're still living in the world of the conversation that we are having.
Well, I'll talk to you too about being a Sagittarius too, and wanting. I don't know if y'all follow the astrology. I'm not gonna pretend to be an expert, but I have always. I never want anybody to tell me I can't do anything either. Like I never want anybody to say, "Oh, you can't do it all." I'm like, well, let me show you that I can.
Yeah.
And
that's me. I'm a Sagittarius too, but I think we had a conversation.
We did.
Yeah, we had this conversation.
And so yeah, you just want to be able to do it all. And I'm realizing now, so I've switched over to consulting as well.
How is that?
It's great. Honestly, you get to make your own time, make your own hours, which is great. So the flexibility is there, but you also get to kind of pick and choose what causes you want to put your energy into. So you're more. I find that I'm more passionate about it. And my friend Ness, who started Mess Arts, which is arts education for kids in like queer communities.
Nice.
I'm super excited about that, and so I'm going to be consulting with them and helping them grow and develop because they're new. And I'm like, ooh, I believe in you, and I believe in your mission and your vision. Like,
what are the qualifications to become a consultant?
I don't think there are any.
So it's just experience,
it's just
and
experience,
like, you know, trust that, you know, okay, that's cool. Good to know.
And I think you could consult. You've
had
a multitude of experience in videography and all of your hyphens.
Yeah. You know? I mean, I always tell people I'm like I may not be the best at it, but I can point you to the best if you need the best. But I feel like I'm pretty good at what I do regardless. Yeah. Because I put effort and I try to at least, you know, do the best that I can with the knowledge that I have and what I can do and my energy. But, you know, if you need a specific person for this, like I'm also a wealth of knowledge and resources. So, yeah. And
that's sometimes just what you need, somebody to point you in the right direction for you to be able to expand organically later on. But when things are new and there are so many things, and I've thankfully occupied so many of those spaces where a lot of the jargon behind the scenes I've come in contact with, like looking at those budgets, looking at those spreadsheets, allocating funds and resources, choosing this grant, doing this, developing, planning and events and all that good stuff. It's like, it's a whole world.
It is.
And if you're not privy to it, it's like, why not use that knowledge that you have to help somebody else grow?
Hallelujah.
Is what I'm trying to do. Pay it forward, baby. Pay it forward.
Yeah, pay it forward. By the way, if you are wanting to pay it forward with Triple Threat Media, feel free. We have an artist fund that we are trying to generate so that other artists who are needing our services, video services or whatnot, and they may not have the full coin, we will pull from that fund to help them get their projects together. But I think since the fund is not as big as we would like right now, if you have a Patreon that you want us to subscribe to just to help, you know, get it, you know, we can do that, especially because since most Patreons are around like, you know, $10, maybe $5. Like we can go in and at least, you know, support maybe 2 or 3 artists right now for Patreon. So
I'm realizing I'm fake. I need to get on the Patreon.
You really should. You really should. It really helps with the Self-Aware Millennial. Like it has helped us and kept the Self-Aware Millennial itself on for the couple of years. Like I could not afford it otherwise. I could not do it on my own. Thank you, patrons, for continuing to subscribe and listen to all the things that I have, and like it really is a good resource, and people do want to support.
Jumping back, I'm sorry, my mind is also all over the place.
You're good.
One extreme positive of being a multi-hyphenate, and I realized this at my release show, which I did. I'm like, what is time? I think it was August 8th. We released Unrequited on the 7th. We had our release show on the 8th at the Howlin' Wolf Den, which is dope venue. All of the people there were really, really helpful. My vision was everything. It was dope. One really, really huge positive, and it's one of the things that I care about most as an artist and as a human, is people from different walks of life who did not know each other and had not connected previously, and that come from all of my different multi-hyphenate lanes, connected and are now having conversations on their own and solidifying relationships and connecting and figuring out how they can work together and build their own communities. And that is just one of my favorite things.
So it's basically like not necessarily a networking event, but like a networking event across industries or
industries and communities. I know, like, I had a photographer there who's done all of my amazing shoots. Scott Photo Mo, follow him on Instagram. He does some great work. He's done a lot of the shoots for anything I've released. He did the Unrequited shoot as well. There are a couple people who needed some photographers, a couple artist friends who were there who were like, I need some new shots. I love what you did with this. And I'm like, oh, that's a connection. Now people are getting business. Friends are probably getting a little bit of a discounted rate, a little hookup. And then he's also getting work for his portfolio and his reel and all of that stuff, So it's just really good. Connections like that is why I do also what I do. I just love people and I love them connecting with each other. So I'm a big softie.
Yeah, that
Chloe says I care too much.
No, but that is a good problem to have. I wouldn't consider caring too much to be a bad problem, unless you like overextend yourself and don't necessarily know your worth. But you definitely know your worth.
Sometimes those boundaries will slip though. Sometimes, so
I feel that.
we're doing work.
Let's do a little wrap up right quick. So you have anything coming up in terms of, I don't care which hyphenate it is.
Yes, I have a couple things. I'm super excited about a lot of things. I'm gonna be playing Black Americana Fest.
Okay.
Which is gonna be super dope. Like the lineup is stacked. Chloe Marie will also be in it. Joy Clark, Amethyst Star, Shawan Rice, who was my former roommate and is amazing.
Oh, Shawan, yeah.
Yeah, I love her. I love her to death. Yeah. We're gonna. I'll be playing Black Americana Fest on September 28th. I also start rehearsals for Toxic Avenger at Rivertown.
Okay. Yes, I think I saw
next
that.
week. I got the email. They said September.
Is that an October show?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's gonna happen. October, late October into November.
Okay.
It's 3 weekends.
Halloween show. Okay. Cool.
It's gonna be creepy. It's a rock musical. The score is crazy. It's gonna be one of the hardest things I think I've ever done, because normally when you do a musical, you have a big ensemble. That's a 5-person cast, and we're playing a bunch of different people in a bunch of different octaves.
That's fun.
That's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm
so excited about it, but I'm a little scared. So even though you are a multi-hyphenate, it's okay to be scared.
Right. Well, that comes depending on the hyphenate. It may come with the program.
Yeah.
Depending on, again, imposter syndrome and knowing your strengths and your limits. Ooh, I remember what it is. I remember it. Hey. Okay, I remember it. Hold on. We're gonna stop. Wrap up. Scrap it. Okay. So another thing I realized about being a multi-hyphenate is, and I had already kind of talked about this. I mentioned it like a little bit, but I wanted to just quickly talk about it a little bit. The fact that like we have hyphenates or people that are within that hyphen that may be excelling more in it than you, and the feeling of the imposter syndrome. I think I wanted to talk about the imposter syndrome of it all.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't remember that. I think that's because I talked about it like
we had touched
on the touch, but like we didn't go fully into it. So the wrap up was almost a wrap up. We're almost there, but we're gonna talk about this right
We got to. There's been too much buildup for us not to
I
talk about
know, and that was it. I was like, that's
Mhm.
it, girl. Yeah, that's it.
That's good though. That's good. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found, at least on my end, and because I do so much, I found that I think it's good to know like where you lie in terms of like your strengths and your weaknesses, because as I was saying a little bit earlier, it's good to be able to refer people that you trust and like know have it in the bag for whatever it is. But I don't know, I feel like there's still moments where it's like you just don't have the time and the energy and the space to like become better, and maybe sometimes may not have the resources or the financials.
Yep.
YouTube University has got me a long way.
Of course.
YouTube, like
Learn many a thing.
YouTube, and like I also think at least in New Orleans there's like the library resources that are free. You just have to like have the account, and you can like log on to their all the resources that they have there, and it'll teach you how to. But you got to have the time to do that, and you have to have the yeah, you just have to have the time, really, and the energy. If you're working a 9 to 5 and then you come home, you got 3 hours before you really have to go to bed, so you can go back to 9 to 5 the next day. Like, when do you have the time to really like to do it? Unless you are just not sleeping, and unless you are a natural person, unless you are just naturally a person that does not sleep much and can function throughout the day. I'm not.
Me neither. And I was trying to be. Have you ever tried to be? I would do that 9 to 5 and go straight to our band would play Frenchman. I think I would have maybe like a nap in between, and then I'm playing a 4-hour gig, hoping that my voice just holds up because I'm tired. Crazy. I'm like, who the hell I thought I was?
Yeah.
But you end up doing it. Like also your body has all of these receptors and adrenaline. It's gonna make you get through it. And you're going to enjoy it, but like the long-term ramifications are crazy.
Right. You can only do that short term. So it's like what energy is going to be profitable in the short term, basically, because that's what you're really doing is trying to find a means of making a profit when sometimes it's not guaranteed.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that was it. I hope that was, at least that is partially what I wanted to talk about. I know we kind of went all over the place, and now we're going back to the wrap up. I wasn't sure there's anything else you wanted to say.
I will say last thought. Okay. I think our minds also to comment on what you're saying, the imposter syndrome. Our minds will tell us to like I hate to. There's not a better term than like jealousy coming to mind. Like with friends who are doing the same things and excelling in those. It's sometimes has been and I hate to say it, like hard to support friends who I know are like exceeding and excelling in ways that I would also like to, and so that's been something that I've like
just like being able to like say, "Oh, great job, you're doing it."
Yes.
Okay, I see. Because you don't want to be ingenuine. You don't want to be fake.
You don't want to be
fake.
Say
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
I got you.
And so that's been something I've been consistently working on and telling myself, "Yo, it's okay to support your friends.
Yeah,
like your journey is also your journey."
Right.
Don't compare it to anybody else, and it also doesn't diminish your title as a multi-hyphenate because somebody else is doing their thing.
Yep.
We gotta support each other.
Yeah, you have to, but it is okay to acknowledge the jealousy.
Exactly. Yes.
Feelings. I mean, it's a, how do I put this? In therapy, think therapy. I'm not a therapist, but like I'm like it's one of those things that just kind of reminds you of. Maybe where, not necessarily where you would like to be, because yes, you might be where you may not be where you are. And like, we only see, when we see other people that are maybe doing better or doing other things that we would like to do, we don't know what they're actually going through. We don't know, like we know, especially on social media, like you just don't know like how they're actually feeling. Sometimes they may have to post this for a sponsor or something, like they may not even be like fully themselves because they're just trying to make a coin. I don't know. I think honestly, I think that is sometimes I have the same feeling sometimes, and I tell myself these things so that I feel better, because I'm like, I'm happy that they're doing a good job, but like maybe they're not as happy as it looks. And I think for me, unfortunately, sometimes it does make me feel a little, I think it just humanizes things,
It
which
does.
sometimes we think because we're doing or they're doing like everybody's posting about the great stuff and they never talk about the bad stuff. That's why I don't know. I'm one of those multi-hyphenates that like, yeah, I'm gonna give you both.
Yeah.
Because I have to. I have no choice. I'm like, y'all gonna see like the exact, like the real.
And that's important.
For the reasons of like, it's not all highs and lows. And I think the other great thing about that is like when if you do finally get to that point where it's like, hi, made it. People who have been following your journey can see the highs and lows.
Exactly.
Like,
yep. It's like using it as a driving tool in a positive way.
Yeah, but also the lows as well. As low as the highs are just as valid in your journey. So
of course. Yes. The lows, we wouldn't be who we are without the lows for sure.
Hello. All right. Well, this was the main podcast portion of the episode. If you want to check us out on our Patreon and hear a little bit more about this conversation that we are having, go to www.patreon.com/theselfaware As I was saying earlier, if you are just joining at this point for some reason, maybe you were listening and somebody else was listening and then someone else joined and they hadn't heard the whole thing. The Self-Aware Millennial is on a current little breaky break, but we'll be back with a new episode soon. And if you see this before September 22nd, I hope to see you at EPK Day. And yeah, I hope y'all have a great day. And thank you so much for listening. Bye. Oh, wait. We're going right back. I want to say thank you to Kirkland for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun. We just got to do it.
Yeah, we are doing it. We are doing it.
But more.
Oh, we're going to do one more?
Oh, yeah. We should do it more.
Oh, I thought you meant like do one more take.
Oh, no. I mean,
like, okay, we can.
We
can.
No. We just got to do it more. I think even if not on camera, just talk more because I love your perspective on things as well.
Thank you.
And that's good. We artist friends just got to stick together and also communicate those highs and lows. So thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Okay, y'all. Bye for real.
Bye.
I mean, not that I don't know. Yes. I don't really have any connection to Theater Baton Rouge at all, but like I have tea with theaters, and theater is almost the same, especially community theaters all around the country.
Y'all remember when that living document came out?
The one during the pandemic? You talking about the one for New Orleans?
Yeah, that was exposing New Orleans theater community.
I contributed to that.
I don't care. I'm not working with them anymore, and they know it. I had conversations specifically with their artistic team on how to do better.